We are alive. Hello, everyone. My guest is Tiffany. She's a writer. She writes about animals, languages, comedy, which is, I find out, so funny. I have listened to her comedy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, what do you like to write about the most?
Probably, I've really enjoyed writing about languages. I have a unique accent, and I talk all about different accents in the United States. And I actually even know sign language too, and I write about that and working with deaf patients. And it's extremely interesting, very interesting to write about.
And how many languages do you speak?
I can speak some Spanish, a teeny tiny bit of French, and that's about it. I was learning Hebrew and Ukrainian years ago, but I stopped. It's hard, very hard.
I heard that when you know another language, you can express yourself more. In all languages, you can express yourself. The more you know the language, the more you know more words. I even heard that maybe around like 70% of people cannot express what they really feel because they have poor language.
Oh, I can believe that. Yeah. And they do say that if you can't communicate, that you lose out on a social function, like interacting with other people. And that's something to watch out for with older adults that have hearing loss. They'll feel isolated and like they can't communicate, or that nobody wants to communicate with them. So yeah, I can believe that.
But also, I would take it also to as an example, relationships.
Maybe. Oh, I can believe that.
Let's say two English speakers that they are, and they are like, oh, I speak English, but your relationship is screwed because you cannot even express what you feel.
Right.
Yeah. And I also heard that Chinese and Russian is when you know the language very well, it's one of the languages like Chinese and Russian that you have even more power. It's deep language of meanings and words.
Yeah, when I was learning Ukrainian, I could see that too. It was very direct to the point and big words with function, not so much, what's the word I'm looking for? Small talk. Not a lot of that, just very to the point. Yeah.
So that's why you choose to learn Ukrainian language or Ukrainian.
I was just curious about it, honestly. I had a family member that was from over there at the time, and I just thought it was interesting to know and to communicate with them on their terms, kind of thing. So it's cool.
Oh, that's have you ever get across the Arabic language?
No, but I'm very interested in that as well. Yeah, very.
You know, it's funny that I lost it.
Really?
In a way, I would say yes.
Interesting.
I don't communicate in Arabic at all because I don't like. Sorry to say that, but I don't speak with my family, and all my friends and the people I communicate with speaks English. So that day I had one old friend I used to study with back home, and he called me, and he's like, "Are you like playing with me?" Like he's like, "Are you like playing?" Or I'm like, bro, that's crazy. Like when I was back home in Yemen, I was at the age of 14, 15. And that's the secret of practice.
Absolutely, I agree.
So it was just it's funny for me, and your accent, because I went and I started listening to Kentucky accent.
Yes.
So I don't know why. Sometimes I have energy and interact when I hear the accent, and when I heard the Kentucky accent, I felt like these people are like raw in a good way. Like they are still not like New York and all this, you know.
Oh, yes,
I feel
yes.
honest, you know, when they speak the language, you can feel the lifestyle and the really the
Mhm.
more connected to earth, to like more
Yes, yes,
stuff.
definitely. I live very isolated, very what they call rural, and it's even more rural than that, like way out in the boonies, they would say, or the sticks. In a forest is what I say, because we get all kinds of animals, deer, groundhogs, foxes. We feed foxes up there. We have horses, goats, you name it.
Wow,
Hmm.
beautiful. Because you know, in a way, our DNA and we even feel happier because you know this like social media and big buildings. It's new to the human DNA and to the human.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
we kind of still feel that we belong to these places where you live.
yeah. I can feel that definitely, and it is a slower, like you were saying, a slower paced lifestyle here. So that attributes to the way we speak, I guess, too.
I really envy the people who live in these places because even when I pass through these places or when I go to visit, I feel more comfortable and less stress. So I envy you.
Good, good. Oh, I'm blessed to be in a quiet area because I've lived in big cities, and uh, I wouldn't trade that for the quiet that I have now.
But do you have neighbors around you or
Do I have what?
neighbors?
No. Mm-mm.
And what animals you have?
Well, we have cats. We had a dog. We have a lot of cats, but we do feed foxes. There's a groundhog that lives out by the garden out here that we keep up during the summer. He'll come out every once in a while. We have deer. I can hear cattle in the distance. I can hear them way out in the distance, mooing and whatnot. I can hear them. And other people down the road, they have goats and horses. People that live up that way have horses, and yeah, it's just extremely nature. I call it Noah's Ark sometimes.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say you are like I don't know how to put the right word. See, I speak English, but very poorly.
Hmm. Hmm.
I would just speak. So in Yemen, my old village, like honestly, cars still cannot get there. So there is not even toilet. Like uh, people don't even have like this toilet. Like if you bring someone to this toilet with that chair, they wouldn't be able to shit. Honestly,
Wow, wow,
yeah. So
wow.
that's very hardcore. But and people there drink milk from their cow. They grow goats and then they would kill them and eat the meat. They have their own like flour and they grow it. And yeah. So do you do this or you buy stuff from outside?
We keep a garden um, during like spring and summer, and we really focus on our favorite things like tomatoes. We do a lot of tomatoes, and my mom's favorite is the cucumber. She loves those, so we really focus on those. But we do buy from the store and local farmers market. in town.
But
So
even this
yeah,
is still more organic than going to Walmart, I guess.
yeah, we will in a pinch, get our vegetables from there. But if we can do it here or locally, we'll do that. Yeah.
That's nice. And the tomato, the one you grow, do you, when you eat it, feel the connection and that's
Do.
and it tastes different?
It is, yeah. We tried to grow watermelon here. It's one of my favorites, and in the South, it's a staple. But we didn't have much luck there. But I would love to try the watermelon straight out of the garden. That would have been
Wow.
really nice. Yeah, maybe
I
next year.
next,
Yeah.
that's nice. And I guess even with COVID, it's like people are not so, because it's like, for example, New York, I'm giving it as example because it's the only place I know in the US. So for example, more people, where you are, people are relaxed.
Yeah, and I have told people before that I live so rural that it feels like it's COVID all the time. Like there's just not a lot to do in the first place. So it's been like that for a long time. That's sad to say, but I'd say a lot of rural communities have felt that way.
Wow. And but how do you
Mhm.
spend like your day? Like there is no people around you. Do you do any kind of workout, stretching?
I do live with my family. I live with my mom and my uncle, and I help at home. And I'm the technical person. I help with their internet problems and things like that. But yeah, I sleep kind of late during the day, and I just help with whatever they need and watch some TV, and I'll make some art, and then get on Zoom with the
With him?
comedy, and yep, with the meat slap, yep.
But also, do you now do you have open mics where you are, or do you have comedy places where you can go and perform?
Not that I'm aware of. No, none locally. No, they would be at least probably like an hour, hour and a half away, like a long drive. Yeah.
Wow, that's like a little bit far for you.
Yeah, right. For just to go for just 5 minutes and then all the way back, right? So Zoom has really been the place for me, for rural people and for people with illness and things like that. It's been amazing.
But some people are scared because now humans, we are maybe moving to the matrix. Like even for me, if we have to do podcast and meet in person, maybe we wouldn't even be able to do it. And how much energy we have to spend and time to meet, to I guess like I was just doing my things. I went to the gym, I come here, I was eating, and then let's start and then let's get it done. But some people are still being negative to what do you think?
I have been scared of Corona and being even more cautious and things like that. And even I got roasted by my friends. I'm like, come on out, don't be a hermit, come on out. And it's like, you literally could not pay me to go out there and risk, you know. It's all about, it's like I'm gonna be, it's an analogy we use driving. I'm gonna be as safe as I can be, but I don't know about that other driver, what they're wanting to do or
Mm.
whatnot. But I'm gonna be safe, wear my mask, maybe some gloves when I go out. But if I can limit going out, then that's not a problem because we're used to staying home. So it's not been too terrible, but
It's really crazy because also it's easy. So for me, I like to have real socialize with people. I
yeah, I do too.
it maybe
On in some occasions, yeah.
so in some occasions, what do you like to do? Like when you meet people?
When I lived in the city, I would go out with friends. We would go out to eat. We would go dancing. We would have Halloween parties. We would big birthday parties, just for no reason. And that was fun. I do miss some of that. Yeah.
Which city did you live in?
I lived in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's growing. It was a small city when I lived there. I moved there in like 2008, I think, and I stayed there till 2015, and I came back home.
Wow.
But,
Have you been to like New York? Because it's like everyone is going crazy about it.
I have been to New York City once, and it's intense. It was very intense.
So you didn't.
It was a long road trip. My brother and his friend, we were going to England. I had just graduated college, and we were taking this trip, a dream trip, right? And we drove from Kentucky to Brooklyn, New York, straight. A very, very, very long ride. And we got there late at night, and we basically just went and got a burger and had a drink in a bar and went back to their friend's apartment, and we laid down, and then we loafed around the next day and caught our flight. I think it was JFK that we flew out of, I think, or Newark. I can't remember, but we flew from there to England to Ireland to Scotland, and then we drove from Scotland down the countryside back to England. Yeah, it was intense.
I'm lost. My brain. Yes. So you went to the UK when you are talking about England and Ireland. So
Yeah.
what around the UK? Like,
I'm sorry.
So did you go to Scotland or no?
Yes,
So you drove all the UK.
we did. So we started out, so we went from New York to London, England. We stayed there a day or two, and then we went for St. Patrick's Day in Ireland. And oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Ireland.
They were so Ireland. Yep.
Which one? Because there is two Ireland.
We went to not Northern Ireland, but the Republic.
Okay.
Yeah, the main Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah. That's you know Conor McGregor. Yeah, so you went. He's from there, I think. You met him there.
I am actually. We did our family tree and our ancestry, and we found out that we are Scottish and Irish and Northwestern European. Yeah.
So how did you find your family tree, or do you have it kept in one place, or how?
Pretty much, our family has pretty much. When we did the ancestry kit, it can kind of show you the migration of your the family members that they find, and you can make like what they call family tree, and you can find aunts, uncles, cousins that you didn't know you had. And when you do the DNA sample, it will find matches to your DNA to other members that have done the program too. So that's been interesting.
Ooh.
Some people that we match DNA with live in Hawaii or Eastern Europe or this, that, and the other. And it's just been very, very interesting.
I want to know where the fuck did I come from?
Right. I mean, we had always been told that we were Native American, that we, so-and-so, your fourth great grandmother was Cherokee, and, you trace back to this person and whatnot. And I was surprised to not see it in there, but I think they just might be behind on they might be backlogged and not have it updated with.
That's crazy. But where did you do this about the DNA and everything?
My brother had bought those kits from ancestry.com, and I think it was around $100, something like that. But you get all these things included with it, and you get like free access to. You can search by birthday, location, last name, and just a lot of different features that you wouldn't get if you were just doing a simple search.
They are not scam.
I'm sorry.
They are not scam. Maybe they are just.
No, they're legit. Mm-hmm. Ancestry.com. Although I would be interested, there's another one. It's called 23andMe, and they have a more in-depth process of finding how and where your ancestors started and migration and things like that. Yeah, it's a little bit more in depth. I would be curious to try that one.
Too much, like 100. I wouldn't say it's too much for someone who wants to know.
Right. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have spent it, but he bought it, so it was his time on his time.
Yeah.
But we do.
Yeah.
We do keep a lot of old photos, a lot of information here that okay, here's grandpa, here's great grandmother, and my brother, he was living, I think, in Portugal at the time, and we were doing this family tree, and he was like, send me a photo of so and so. Snap, okay. Snap, okay. And we were loading it onto this digital family tree type thing, and it was just amazing.
Wow. So now, for example, your mom also didn't know this. So it was even shocking for your mom.
Yeah. Because we have been told all our lives, oh, we're Native American through and through. We're Native American through and through our whole lives. All of us have been told that. But when it didn't show up, we were just like, what? Shocked a bit. So.
But you were told that you are Native Americans by your parents, and your parents were told by them.
Grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody was like, oh yeah, we are.
Hide it. Why did they hide, change and say to you that you are Native Americans?
That's a good question. I don't know. I do remember a portrait that my grandpa had. It now lives with a cousin in Tennessee. But I remember that as a child, it was a Native American woman with two white men. I remember that plain as day. Supposedly that was our fourth great grandmother. So.
Because it's a little bit funny in Yemen, people still value others by where they are from. There is class system.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, for example, it's like it's actually happening. So there are some cities where they are in the down of the, does it call hierarchy, or like the in the people that they are in the bottom will never be able to marry from people who's in the middle or in the top, and the people who's in the middle will never be able to marry from the people who are in the top, and they will never be able to marry from people who's in the bottom, which is weird. So
that is strange.
Yeah. And for me, it goes weird to the point where I feel like there is always connection also between humans. And I feel like languages, we just created it. These things, we created it. So it doesn't feel right. And it's too sad when people spend their life on a false idea, just was made by us. What if someone fall in love with someone from the middle? So then what?
Absolutely. Right.
Life with someone who doesn't like just because he's from the middle. We do weird things.
Exactly. Like a man-made construct is really going to keep people apart. And, that even will further isolate your language. Maybe somebody from the bottom, their language would become so isolated and with their own idioms and sayings and phrases that they may not even, it may be still considered Arabic, but they couldn't even communicate with the people at the top, and I'm sure it would be the same way, like their whole language could, absorb in itself, kind of, if that makes sense.
What do you mean, like they speak different languages or what?
Like it would be still considered Arabic, but I have seen with other communities in the United States that when groups isolate together, kind of, that they have their own slang and their own
Correct.
words and things like that, that they can't even communicate with other native speakers, or it's mhm.
Okay, it's different in Yemen. It's a little also
Mhm.
when I talk about it because I lived it and now I look at it with different perspectives. So it looks
Right.
so in Yemen, people that they are from the top uh,
Mhm.
have their own accent.
Oh, okay.
They are so proud of that accent, and the people are valued when they are talking by that accent. So other people will fake the accent just to get along, and many people will feel even shy to talk with their real accent because they will be undervalued, which is freaking weird, and I lived it. Mm.
When we had went to England, me and my brother had moved to a city where he kind of lost this accent, even though he was still from Kentucky. But when we went over there, I was hesitant to do a lot of talking because I didn't want anybody to be like, "You're American? Oh, what are you doing here?" Like, and we faced a little bit of that in some places. So I just kept quiet for some places. And I had even went to, are you familiar with Philadelphia? I think it's south of New York, I think.
Yes,
I went there a few years ago and I'd had a long day. I'd flown from North Carolina to Philadelphia, and a long day. And I got on a crowded elevator, and it was standard to be like, "Ma'am, what floor?" And I said 5, and everybody in that elevator just goes, looked at me and it's like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "North Carolina and Kentucky." And that's all I said after that.
just humans in Yemen. Okay, my problem is there are too many humans who they act in a weird way. People shouldn't act like this.
No.
Valued with your accent. It's like you should be valued with what you achieved and what you did. And if I don't know you, I don't know what you achieved or what you did, or like, so you should treat people with respect.
Absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
so that's what I do in my life. I don't care if you think that I'm like my accent is weird or maybe my color is weird,
Right.
then that's in a way like your problem. You're not going to affect me.
Exactly. Like, how is anybody going to say, "Oh, that's wrong," or "a person is wrong"? Like, they're born, like, no. it's a very backwards way of thinking. Honestly, nobody is born, a crime. Or Trevor Noah, he had wrote a book about being his father was white and his mother was African American, and they basically, he was born a crime, a mixed child, and after around the time of apartheid in South Africa. It was, I mean, nobody should feel like they're born a crime.
It's what we do to each other is insane. And like, not just with this, like it okay, I meet one person from Syria. I think you know where is Syria.
Mhm.
I used to work in swimming pools, and when I was at college, and I met one guy from Syria. All his body is marked. All his body. So this is not like from social media, and you can also find some videos in YouTube, which is they were like run away. Some people film. So I'm not into politics, and I never say that this part or is right or this part of is wrong. But this guy, what he did in Syria is he went against the president, and the people who were going against the president, the government used to put them in the jail, like protest. So in the US, you can protest, but in Arabic countries, you get hanged, you get killed.
Oh, goodness.
So this guy, there is too much hate because he went against the president. They put him in the jail, and after he came out from the jail. He stayed in the hospital 1 year to recover and to get his brain back, and like he just stayed in the hospital 1 year. Maybe he's back, maybe he's not, but he was lucky enough to. So imagine, like all his body was marked, and he told me horrible stuff. So, and that's why I think that there's too many bad people, there is too many bullies, and the benefit of knowing is just to be aware and not let it affect you. So if someone is like, oh, where are you from, when they hear you speaking or anything, you are aware that it's okay. Like you have your own problems, and like it's not my problem. So good luck for you. And they are not happy, people who do this to others.
I have a history. I worked when I was in North Carolina. I was fresh out of college. I graduated with my bachelor's in social sciences, and I studied intense psychology, criminology, anthropology, all of the ologies. I've studied them. And I worked as a behavioral health specialist for many, many years. And I worked in the hospital, and I cared for psychiatric patients, and I was a caregiver at home and different things like that. So I've had a vast experience with patients that communicate through artwork. We would do art therapy. I would help them. I would look at their artwork and things like that. And in my studies, we had to take a study on art from tortured victims.
Hmm.
And I wanted to throw my computer out the window. It was so upsetting to me, even though, these are patients that you work with and you care for. It broke my heart to pieces to see some of the things on that video. It had North Korean prison torture camps, drawings, reenactment drawings from that. Some, where was that one? Abu Ghraib. I think that was, I'm not sure where that one was. I think that might have been Iraq, actually, Iraq, I think.
That's a tough place too.
Maybe one from Syria. And it was just absolutely, it was horrific. And I was just so empathetic, and just, how can people do this to each other? And, who makes somebody appointed to torture another human? For what? For what? What purpose does it serve? And how could you work a job like that? Like a prison guard or a prison employee, turning a blind eye to that every day. How can you? It broke my heart to pieces. It really did.
Mm. Okay, I would like to know your opinion. Why do you think some people are doing this?
A lot of it, I believe, it's a political delusion, a blind allegiance to an idea, or that it will gain them favor to be spared from this torture, or or a mentality of be the torturer or be tortured kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And it's all a sickness. It really is. I think that it starts in your ego, and I'm big and bad. I can, and also a cycle of trauma. Say if a lot of cases that I have seen in working with patients is that if they are abusive to their partner, and it doesn't excuse this or condone it in any kind of way, 9 times out of 10, they have been abused in their lifetime in a horrific way. But I think that it shows tremendous growth for people to stop that cycle, to be like, okay, I was abused in my lifetime, but I'm not going to perpetuate that on somebody else. That's something I have to deal with. I'm not going to make another cycle of that, so to speak. But I think that it's a psychological issue, trauma, and general delusion to a political idea or status or self-preservation in a way.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the problem is some people cannot recover from the trauma.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. The trauma alone, mental trauma alone is devastating. I can imagine the physical trauma too, it's heartbreaking. Absolutely.
Like
Heartbreaking.
even sad from the beginning to the end. Like the person who's even doing bad himself, is abusing his body. He's abusing his mind. He's abusing his life by abusing. He's abusing his position as a human.
Mhm. Right.
And so what works for me, as you said, because I feel like we all have egos, it's just different, I
Mhm, mhm.
feel like Hitler ego is different than yours, mine.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and everyone, but what works for me is discipline. I
Mhm,
I
mhm.
go to the gym every day, not to build muscles. It's secondary. I go
Yeah.
there for mental. It makes me feel humble. That's why also like my boxing, jiu-jitsu, martial arts are humbling. And
Mhm.
they are meant for mental, I would say, before than physical, because many people they go, they break, and so that works for me. Also, finding something I love, like comedy,
Yeah.
in a way, like all this energy and ego and all this, I would trick it and in a way like dry it with comedy.
Yes.
So some
Yes.
people they are not satisfied with like the job they do. It's harder. They don't go to the gym. they eat unhealthy food, which is bring like bad fuel for the brain and for the body.
I agree. Finding an outlet, especially something like comedy, it's almost therapeutic in a way. I was discussing this with another friend the other day. It's just like when there's a phrase, you can laugh about it later, or it's traumatic at the time, or you got rejected or dumped or whatnot, but it's funny now, or you can find the funny in it way later in life. Certain events that were, or it's just such a shocking event that it can make others laugh in an irreverent kind of way. And comedy is very therapeutic, I find. You can talk about your trauma in certain ways through comedy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, in Yemen, comedy is not allowed.
Like in public, or no
So,
jokes, no
so even
laughter.
music, in a way,
Uh-huh.
is not allowed. It's. I'm telling you, like, it's for me. Life is too weird because when you live a life that was your life, like that was your everyday routine, and then now it's the weirdest thing in the world. So when I'm talking about it, I'm like, hey, you were there, so calm down. But it's really crazy. So
Yes.
so in Yemen, we think that we are in earth
Mhm.
to go to heaven or hell. That's why we are in earth.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's like baptism country. And we think that you should do in earth what get you closer to heaven. Other than that is wasting your time, is making your mind weak and making you be not focused. So it's not allowed. So entertainments are not allowed.
There there are it's very hard to find, but there are um religious groups here in America that, oh, laughter is wasteful. Don't waste your laughter when you could be meditating with God, or don't waste laughter. Laughter is childish, silly, not important. Yeah, it sounds extreme for us, right? But yeah.
And for you, as like, what? Okay. Do you like have like? Are you guys where you are religious? Is the
Mhm,
people
mhm.
around specific religion, or everybody do whatever he wants?
Yeah. Um, the South, they're known as the Baptist Belt, and everybody is Southern Baptist. Usually is the majority. I was raised Baptist myself, Christian. I don't like the word religion. I like the word spiritual, because I feel like religion, the word to me is something you do out of habit repeatedly. Like I watch football religiously, or I eat at 7 o'clock every day religiously. It's lost kind of connection for me, but I like the word spiritual because I do pray, I do meditate, you know, I feel like I have a more of a connection with God that way when I use the word spiritual. But yeah, yeah.
But does that like? So you practice? What do you practice? Like,
Christianity would be the umbrella term for it. Yeah,
you
yeah.
go to that church as well, or?
I do on Facebook. I watch
That
because of Corona and stuff like that. But
um,
mhm,
I don't want to be weird, but
mhm,
they found out that the biggest Facebook Christian groups
mhm.
are in a way lead by some Russian farms. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just
Oh yeah, I watch a local
this.
church. Yeah. But yeah, that is sad to think that, that's sad.
And even like there are like too many machines now with fake accounts that could direct people. So you are aware of that.
Yes, yes. Yeah. It's sad how that's been hacked in a way. Yeah. It's sad.
Yeah. And so when you, for example, like as you said, you try to meditate or
Mhm.
like how do you go to different state of mind? How do you feel the God?
Yeah. Um, we were always taught to pray with humility, to just not make a big show of it, or just do it as humbly as possible. Do it. You can even do it in your head, like, thank you for this day. Help me know right and wrong, and whatever's on your mind. And yeah, but I always try to go to like a private room, and
And you do it like as you said, not like religiously, whenever you feel.
just whenever. Mhm,
That's. But I just want to know more about your
mhm.
mind when you are connecting with.
I really try to focus my thoughts on what I'm concerned about, who I'm concerned about, what I need guidance with, and decisions other people are making and they're struggling with, like my friends and family. I really try to stay focused on a chain of thought or people and seeking the greater good, I guess, so to speak. And yeah, I really try to, stay with my eyes closed, head bowed, and I just really try to not let my thoughts wander, because they will. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Let's get back to where we were, okay? And I don't have the TV off and nothing distracting me, or I'll even take a walk outside and do it in my head. Yeah.
That's great. And
Mhm.
meditate. How do you for how long do you meditate? Because I can't meditate. For me, I would, for example, meditate when I'm doing boxing. Like it,
Right, right.
but I cannot sit
Yeah.
down and meditate.
When I'm walking, I would say 10 minutes.
So you
10 minutes or
meditate
so.
while you are walking.
Yeah, I'm just kind of connected and focused on, that's what I consider it. I guess it's more when I'm in here and it's quiet and I can focus my thoughts. I guess that's a better way of meditating. I'd say that's about 20 minutes, easily
That's
20 minutes or so.
some people they are like goes listen to the waves and meditate. Sit down and listen to the waves. So I go for 1 year trying to listen to the waves, and it's like rough. I'm like,
It's distracting because it's beautiful in its own right. I want to listen to that. Yeah, but I'm not focused, or not.
so tell me,
Yeah.
when did you start writing?
Writing, I would say elementary school. I would write little creative stories and things like that. Middle school was where teachers were like, "You've got talent," and things like that. And I was painfully shy in middle school. In high school, I got recognition and things like that. In college, I won my first writing contest competition.
Wow, good.
And I have it framed over here to look at every day. But my sociology teacher, he was kind of like a mentor to me in a lot of ways. But he was a tough guy. But I won him over, and I got an A in content, relatability, language. I'm trying to read it off over here, and content. I don't know if I said that already, but he says your thoughts, and you express yourself in a way that is fun but easy to read. You know the material. I seriously can encourage you to pursue a career as a writer.
Hmm.
I have it framed where I can look at every day. So, but I've gotten lazy with it. I really have, but I want to follow up on that. So, and I won first place in fiction in college, and then I won another prize for an essay contest in 2010. I won that. What else? I have a blog. I have articles about artwork and languages too out there for a magazine. Silly Linguistics is the name of it. Yeah. Yep.
I don't know, like I feel like every comedian is like interested person. Nobody is doing comedy and is boring. Well, or maybe
Absolutely.
yeah.
I find that too. I had mentioned that to another friend. I was just like, terribly interesting people make great comedians. We just have such colorful lives,
Yeah, and so you win the prize, you win some things. Do you think the reason you win this is because you are talented, you have something, or just because you loved it and you put more time and energy?
That's a good question.
Like it was fun.
I put a lot of work into it, and I think there were not a lot of applicants that year. So I'm going to be humble and say that.
But
Yeah,
was it enjoyable for you to do it, or
it was. It was a creative story, and I got to put like my favorite musicians in the story, and I'm glad that they enjoyed it too, to a degree. So it was a cute little story. I'm trying to remember what it was about because that feels so long ago, 2007, or no, even before that, 2005.
Hmm. That's because, for example, people would say to the best fighters in the world, or the best comedians in the world, or the best people who
Mhm.
play football, and it's like, okay, I'm going to play from tomorrow football, and I want to be the best. But I feel like
Right.
it's about finding something you love and um, making it your routine. So, for example, when I started
Mhm.
writing comedy, it was tough to stay for 15 minutes. Like I would be like, that's too long. But the more you develop these muscles, because you know that there is like billions neurons in our brain, and I
Mhm.
would advise you to watch Human, the World Within. It's a new TV show in Netflix, and it
Okay. Okay.
how strong is the human brain. I don't care who you are. You have this.
Right.
You have this machine, and it shows how if you don't use it, you lose it. It's like if you have
Absolutely.
the best
Absolutely.
board and you don't check the engine, you don't drive it, you don't maintain it. If you even have Ferrari, it will be useless.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I agree.
when you put something in your routine and your neurons and your brain, this machine start to become something new. So it's just challenging of discipline and being against yourself and forcing.
Yes. Yes. It is. And, I'm a nervous person. I have an issue with nausea when I get nervous. There's been times that I've thought, I've got to get out of here. I'm going to go throw up real quick, but then I'll be right back. There's been times, but I just push through, do the jokes, get the laughs, and then maybe go throw up after. But, but I have, everybody has this inner critic. stop it, you're not funny, stop it, don't do this, stop, you're not prepared. But it goes away once you start talking. But I have been encouraged greatly by him and Brian. They are so awesome and encouraging and welcoming. I had actually started with a group called Displaced Comedians. I'm not sure if you're in that group. That's how I met him and Brian and started coming to the Meat Slap. And I feel like I have come a long way with them. I started in June or July with them, and
they even do
I
it.
rarely miss it. Rarely miss it.
I wanted to say that they even do it for free.
Right? Oh my goodness. They are just amazing, encouraging, high energy, and they'll help you workshop things and ideas. And it's just a supportive crew. I've never felt like I've bombed over there. I have bombed other places, but not at the Meat Slap. But yeah, they're just so supportive and welcoming, and it's an amazing group.
Yeah, and also sometimes don't take it that you bomb online, because some people are doing multitasks. Even if you are sitting in front of the camera, maybe they are typing, because I do some hosting. I host open mic, and sometimes I would talk to people and they don't hear me. So they will be sorry, I was doing something else. I'm like, okay. So maybe they are looking to the camera and you say your jokes and they're like, oh, I bombed, but they didn't even listen. So
yeah, and that's tricky too with Zoom, because I don't when they spotlight it, I feel like I do better on the spotlight than I would on gallery view. I only do gallery if it's like 6 of us. But while I'm talking and doing my thing, I prefer to see myself, and that way I can kind of mirror my posture and my gestures and things like that better, I think.
You know what works for me? I try to catch one person. So it's like I would try to catch one victim, because if you were able to catch your eyes on someone who is enjoying,
yeah, that's true. True.
then you get the job done. And there is more chances to be funny, because you are not focused with others, and you already catch. It's like, the lion when they go for hunting.
Yes, it's just like, okay, I've locked in on you. Okay.
Sometimes you might catch. So sometimes you would bomb anyway. Who cares? But I would try.
Right.
I would try to look for someone who, even at the big. So I would say even my first joke, and I would see who is more smiling, more able to connect with me, and then you catch the best thing, so your eyes doesn't get confused to others, and you already have.
Right.
Yeah, and sometimes things just go wrong.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't always pan out, but yeah.
And your jokes, where do you like create them from? Like, do you have funny background? Do you have funny family where you are, or how do you do them?
All of it. All of it. They're like 90% true. All of it. Yes. I've combined some things, some events, some places, some people into one person or something like that for time constraints. Because I could talk about some things for a long time if they didn't spotlight. Like 3 minutes is up. I could talk for a long time about certain things.
That's
But yeah, my family is funny. My mom is funnier than I am, honestly. She should come do this.
yeah.
She is roasting me all day long.
But it's normal that when you are a comedian, even maybe your mom or your dad are funny, but they didn't do it. So
yes.
that comes to you. Yeah, that's really great. And so you write mostly about, because I think also you have advantage that you are from Kentucky. It's like a little bit different, because what people see, something that they don't expect, laugh.
Right. I address my accent sometimes right up front. I'm just like, yeah, I know. I need captions underneath me everywhere I go. I understand that. Or I'll bring an interpreter with me or things like that. But or I have made a joke that when people hear my voice, they might think, oh, she's probably bad at math. It's true, but they wouldn't expect me to have a bachelor's degree or be a caregiver or work with patients or anything like that. So
And do you
flip it on them.
Set up, twist, punchline? Is that your technique, or how do you?
I like that. And I also like thinking of things after the fact. Like, I should have said this, or we got into a big argument, but here's things I thought of that I should have said. and just go off on that.
So, like, thought will come to your mind, and you think it's funny, and you will write it and say it, and then you try to edit it. You work on it more and more until it's.
I keep a notepad, a little notepad, right by the bed, and I have a larger one underneath it for things I'm really with a diagram and trying to put this here, put that there, in my ink pen, and I just put almost little bullet points, like little words like sickness, snow, or phone issues, and some things I struggle to be like, what was I trying to talk about there? When you put just the word on there, you just want to riff off that word, even. Or what else did I have? I feel about filled this whole thing up. Let's see, what else do I have? Babysitting, adventures, health scares, checkups, Halloween, sickness. Yeah, it's
mixed. I interview comedians and mostly. So I have done maybe around like 12. I posted half of them. I'm trying to keep more. So in case I'm sick or if I travel, I want to be like in front. So I can survive for 2-3 months without doing podcast and keep uploading.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I'm trying to be like Netflix. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should do it the right way or not, because I'm trying to add it to people routines. That every week there is two, and I am like I entertain myself mostly with podcasts. So
okay, yeah.
Well, maybe do you listen to any podcasts?
I haven't in a long time, but I was listening to a radio show, the Russell Brand radio show. He's done several different stations, but he'll have guests on there, and it's just constant hilarity. Constant hilarity. What else? Podcasts? I haven't listened in a very long time.
What do you listen to entertain yourself?
I like the Pandora app, music app.
Yeah.
You can shuffle your stations kind of thing, and you get a mix of today, 80s, rap, everything. I like to put it on shuffle, especially when I'm organizing things or moving things around in my room. I will put it on the laptop and put it on shuffle, and I will just get things done.
You listen to some songs where you are like, finish. You are the worst song I ever met in my life.
I have done that, but I like to find, at the beginning, I will find, okay, what's my trusty playlist here? Okay, that one. No skips. Or I'll just suffer through it.
You know what? so human body is chemicals. We are made of,
Mhm,
and some
mhm.
songs hit with your chemicals.
Oh yes, some songs I get the biggest.
That, yeah, some doesn't hit with your chemicals. And what works for me now, when I have song that hits with me, I would keep it for the time when I'm working out. Because if I
Mhm.
do it more and more and more, then it gets boring.
Exactly. Yes, I burn myself out. Mhm.
Yeah, I would keep it because I would listen to podcast when I'm in the gym, but sometimes just to recovery, do some recovery.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was in the gym and one I opened songs from YouTube and one song came. I swear to God, I couldn't lift the weight from how shitty it is. I say, no, I have to change it. I can't. And then I would just,
Skip, skip, skip. Find the right one.
I don't know, like, I don't know if you are familiar with Joe Rogan. Uh,
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't.
yeah, so he has a podcast, and
Mhm.
um, so many people they are like, oh, Joe Rogan is not nice. You know, always there is people who like against and with you, haters and lovers. But basically, what Joe Rogan is doing now, his guest, he bring people that been censored from social media, from Instagram or from Twitter, and they are researchers and science about vaccines and all this. So he's interviewing the people who've been censored. And what I like that these people, when they come to his podcast, they say, Joe Rogan, we might be wrong. And the other researchers might be right. But why did they censor only us? And when you censor people, then people doesn't know what's the truth and who you are to say. You know, like imagine we live an island, me and you and Ham and Brian, and then Brian
Mhm.
are you because you are wrong. Who? So that's the only reason why I like to listen to them, because it's fascinating what they say and it's just different from all the world. Because Joe Rogan podcast almost the last window to listen to these people. They've been censored from Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. And Joe Rogan podcast been censored as well from YouTube and everywhere. But now he's with Spotify. You know Spotify. So Spotify, it's a Swedish company, and they believe that everyone should say whatever he wants. So he's now doing through Spotify and this science, like he has the last two interviews, even one of them, of these researchers, they took his license and they censored him from Twitter. So he said to Joe Rogan, he's like, I have my farm, I have horses, it pay off. And I'm not even in this podcast to be famous. I don't care about the money. He said, I've been doing this for 40 years and now I feel like all my work and all the effort we did is disrespected. What's going on now? It's different. And he's saying like, I'm not like anti-vaccine or with the vaccine, but I'm against the mandate and how things are working. And yeah, some people they are like, no, he's they would argue with me and I'm very aware. I would be like, okay, no problem, we might be wrong, but that's the only thing what attract me.
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of discussion about, oh, he's anti-vax or he's wrong or this and that, but I have honestly not listened to it or know enough about him. I know his comedy style I haven't really been a fan of personally from a comic point of view, but as far as his show, I can't say that I've seen it to have a comment really, but yeah, there have been a lot of assumptions that he is this or he is not that, and it's not a good place to be in the public eye, I don't think.
Uh, it's crazy, but you always will find people who will hate you and people that they will love you.
Oh yes, yes, definitely. And with being a writer, you
Do you,
get lots of rejection.
you are comedy now? Do you wish to be famous comedian?
I would like to be successful, be financially secure for the rest of my days, have all that straight, travel, have a fulfilled experience, I guess. Not necessarily famous, but
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
and
Well, I really believe in you, and I always enjoy your jokes
Oh, thank you. Same.
and yeah, like you have been so great. Even I learned
Oh,
a
thank
lot
you.
from
You
you
too.
today. And yeah, keep the work up. I 100% believe in you. And thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
We
Yeah, thank you for having me.
maybe
It's great.
1 hour and I don't know, maybe 40 minutes, 50, I don't know. It's just pleasure to talk to you and hear different ideas. I'm glad.
Yeah, same. It's great.
So hopefully I see you around in the Matrix.
Yeah, we'll probably see you at the meat slap tomorrow.
Thank you so much. It was much like fun to talk to you.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for having me.
The best. Bye bye.